for joining me and welcome to Practice Again. So in today's class, we're going to use a practice that is a personal favourite of mine. It's something that you can do at any point in your day. It's a great wake-up routine, but also a great practice to prepare you for maybe something a little more intense, something a little deeper. Essentially, we're going to use movement and fluid repetitive movement. And specifically, we're going to work through each of your primary joints, working from the heels and the ankles all the way up to the crown of the head and the joints around the neck. Importantly here, one of the great benefits is that it increases something called synovial fluid. As you start to move and articulate joints, synovial fluid is the fluid that seeps into the joint, primarily to lubricate the joint, but also it's where many of our nutrients are carried. So if we're looking for healing practices or just to make the joint and the muscles surrounding the joint healthier, this routine is one of the best ways to do that. Now we're going to start with the spine. So let's come into a standing position. As you come into a standing position, I just want you to first of all loosen up. Often when we come to a movement practice, we feel quite tense. And when that movement practice is associated with yoga, often we have this perception in our mind that we need to be really still and hold ourselves still. So we want to dismiss all that for a moment, and in fact, just let your joints feel all kind of really soft, really loose, and the body too. Let's stand nice and tall, have the toes facing forwards. We're going to again go through the primary actions of the spine. First of all, it's flexion and extension. So to flex the spine forwards, we need to move the hips. Your pubic bone goes down, your tailbone at the back comes up. So we move the hips first, and then you move into that action, but collapse the shoulders, bow the head, and round the spine down. So you're getting a full stretch at the back of the body. And then on the way up, you anchor into the toes, be really strong in the thighs, bend the knees a little more so it's kinder on the back, and then you slowly spinal roll up, you peel up. Now as you stand, lift the shoulders, roll them back, bend the knees, and then you tilt the hips in the opposite way. Pubic bone goes up, tailbone goes down, and that gives you a little more space and stability to extend your spine backwards. And then let's go again. Come forwards, do it a little more fluidly, tilt the hips, round the spine, come down. And then on the way back up, slowly unravel, bend your knees, tilt the hips again, come back, draw the shoulder blades together, lift the chest, and then go again. Now if you can do this again fluidly, but importantly, we want to make sure that your movements are intentional. So we're not just moving and you're not just mimicking patterns. You're actually really feeling the sensations as you move from one region of movement to the other. So as I come forwards, I can feel the stretch of the back of the body. And then as I stand, bend the knees, shoulder blades together, lift the chest. So here, make sure that you feel the stretch across the front line of the body. You feel nothing in the lower back whatsoever. Let's go one more time. Fold forwards. Again, let the body hang. Notice the stretch at the back of the legs through the entirety of the back, from the lower back all the way to the neck. And then as you come back, bend the knees. Come back. Perfect. Roll the shoulders. Next, let's come into these side flexions. And again, really important practice for us this, to give us that space in the spine. So here, we inhale, reach hands skywards. And then you exhale, travel over to your right. So you can mirror me. Travel over to your right. Lengthen as much as you can. Let's pause for the first couple of reps. We want to make sure that, yes, we get this stretch here in this tissue, super important, but also that we kind of elevate the chest. So this area of our rib cage, I'm lifting up and pushing skywards as well as extending through the arm. And then we reach up. And then just for this first rep on this side, we'll pause again. So again, I'm sending my hips in the opposite direction. Feel the stretch here. But then I'm actively lifting the rib cage and extending my arm off to the side. Okay, let's make it flow. So reach up and then side bend with all of those actions. Reach up. Side bend with all of those actions. Now this is something we can take from a practice of yoga called Vinyasa Yoga, which the premise of that practice is to connect movement and breath. And often when you do that, when your body starts to move in alignment with the breath, it helps steady the mind. So here what we can do is we can inhale, reach up, Exhale, side bend over. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend. Let's go again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend. Perfect. Let's come to a third action. So for this one, separate the feet so they're hip width apart. It gives us better understanding of how your knees are going to move. And in this instance, we're going to bend the knees, strengthen your thighs. Imagine your kneecaps are like floodlights facing forwards. As you twist, there will be a little deviation, so that light will shine a little to the right and left, but only a little. If you notice your knees are doing this, what's actually happening is that you're putting pressure on the knees and you're using the movement of the knees to compensate for a lack of movement in the rotational patterns of your body here, the torso. So the lesser movement of the knees, the more we strengthen this area. So strengthen down the thighs, relax into it, interlace the fingertips, bring them right to the center of the chest. Make sure that your hands don't deviate. That's often quite common too. Keeping the hands in the center of the chest gives you more understanding of how much you can twist. So inhale is here. Exhale, follow me to your right. Notice the knees barely move. Inhale, center. Exhale, follow me to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Let's extend out of it. So inhale, center, and then exhale, separate the hands away from one another. And then inhale, center. Exhale, separate the hands as you twist to your left. Go again. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Now as you begin to warm up, and with consistent practice, notice that that twist, that rotation improves pretty dramatically too. And then come to center. Really good. Okay, roll into the spine. Let's come into another couple of warm-up and preparatory practice. Come to the back of your mat. So we're going to take a posture out of yoga, malasana, so yogi squat. What we're going to do is have the toes turned out about 45 degrees. And importantly, as you come into the squat, there are a couple of actions we want to maintain. First of all, that action is sitting down, like you're sitting into a chair. So the bum doesn't drop down directly. It goes back and then down. Now, as you do that, you keep the knees outside of the big toes. If the knees begin to collapse inside the big toes and we pronate the feet too much, often means that the inner thighs as well as the calves are probably tight and they're dominating the muscles of the bum and the outer thighs. So do your best to keep the knees wider than the big toes. Final action. This is a little more challenging to find. We want the angle of your shin to be reflected by the angle of your spine. What I mean by that is as I squat down, notice the angle of my shin, and then if my spine's here with my heart facing the floor, they are not connected in any way, shape or form. They don't align. What I would want is something similar to this. So no, my heart isn't directly facing forwards. Of course it's not. My spine should follow this diagonal angle that my shins allow. Come as low as you can while maintaining the heels on the ground. Then you stand and step. And then we go again. Separate the knees. Keep the chest high. Walk and step. Down. Now if your heels begin to lift, that's cool. What we'll do is we'll pause. Wherever that moment is where your heels lift, pause. And then again, in future practices, you'll develop. Let's walk forwards with the other foot. So we sink down, chest high. Step, sink down, chest high. Now for me, and for a lot of people that I teach, this is one of the most important patterns, one of the most important movements that I try to really reinforce and help people improve in of all ages. Squatting is a fundamental human movement pattern. If you're to watch children, once they're toddlers, watch how they often rest. They rest in this position. They play in this position. As soon as they learn to read, they start reading, doing things in this position. It's really important that we maintain as much of that as we can as we age, because it's one of the few things where the evidence is really good to back up that if you're better at squatting, if your ankle, knee, hip mobility is good, if the strength of your legs is good, and importantly, if you can get yourself to the ground and back up off the ground safely, then that is directly connected to the longevity of your life. A lot of things claim to be, but when you really look into the data, the evidence isn't all that good. With this, the evidence is pretty damn conclusive. You get better at squat patterning, ankle, knee, hip mobility, leg strength, boom, you live longer. Okay, let's come out of that. Well done. Final practice for us here. We're going to borrow something from runners' practices, and we're going to combine it with a posture from Yoga Posh for Tanasana Pyramid Pose. We're going to do it with movement again. So here we step the right foot forwards, like we're coming into Pyramid Pose. Turn the toes of the right foot up. Hinge forwards. Keep the back straight. That might mean bending the knees. Sweep down. Place your foot down. Reach up and back. Left foot steps forwards. Heel lifts. Hinge forwards, back straight. Bend the knee if it helps. Sweep down. Press into the left foot. Reach up and back. Go again. Right foot forwards. Ball the foot up. Sweep down. Reach up. Ball the foot down. Reach. Let's change. We're now left side. Left foot steps forward. Toes turn up. Hinge. Straight back. Bend the knee accordingly. Sweep up. Reach back. Foot down. Heel action. Hinge. Sweep up. Ball the foot down for balance. Part the hands. Go again. Left foot. Heel down. Ball the foot up. Hinge down. Reach up. Part the hands. One more. Heel down. Sweep. Reach. And then back. Perfect. Okay, well done. Let's come down to the mat. You're going to notice that I've got a few props out. So first prop that is going to be a really good addition to class is to have some form of support. Yoga Brick's really inexpensive prop that you can use for many of the practices that I share here. I would definitely invest in a couple of them, two that are the same, because that helps us with future practices. So I'm going to put those to one side. Second one is optional, and it's really for a bit of comfort with the knee. So this is a yoga knee pad, again, fairly inexpensive. I can also give you links for that onto my shop where you can get those for kind of really cost-effective prices, but also something that's just as good, if not better, a cushion, a pillow from home, even a roll blanket. Essentially, we're using it for a bit of knee comfort because it can be uncomfortable resting onto your knees. So I'm going to go for the yoga knee pad because I've got one of those, and I'm going to show it off that I've got all this amazing yoga equipment at home. I'm super lucky. And then we do this. We're going to practice each of the techniques for 1 minute. So my timer's out. I'm going to have the right foot forwards. We're going to come down towards lunge pose. The bricks are up to steady me. They go either side of the right leg. Importantly, notice that my hips have traveled forwards and then the toes of the back foot are tucked. When you're in this position, you lift the chest and importantly, you tilt the pelvis under. What we're looking to do is what we led with here. You're extending the spine, sending it up and back. Remember, whenever you get your spine up and back, you take your tailbone down, pubic bone up. Then what we do, we pull back from this. Look at the toes of the back foot, they're tucked. Straighten your right leg as much as you can, and we fold. Whenever we fold the spine, we do the opposite with the hips. Pubic bone down, lift the buttocks back. So let's begin the practice. So we come forwards, lift chin and chest, tilt the pelvis. Feel this most in the top of the left thigh, and then I pull back. Tilt the hips again. I feel the back of the leg. Come forward slowly, lift the chest, and then pull back. Really good. Come forwards again. Lift the chest, tilt the hips, shoulder blades together, and then pull back. So these are fluid, dynamic practices. Dynamic doesn't mean fast. It just means that we're in constant motion. Now that constant motion is still mindful. It's connected. It's done with awareness. Lift the chest. And then come back. Pull back. Really good. One more time. We can come forwards. Draw the shoulder blades together. Feel the strength of the back. Final time. We pull back. Happy. Come forwards. Bricks out the way. We reset our timer. Right foot steps back. Props over to the right side for the knee. Left foot steps forwards. Let's tune into a couple of other factors here. We want to start to improve that ankle mobility. Now it's super healthy for your knee to eventually be able to travel so far forwards that it reaches the line of the toes while the heel is on the ground. You might find that the heel wants to lift. Try not to do that. Try to press the heel down and still send the knee forwards outside of the big toe. Let's start our timer. Bricks up. Lift the chin and the chest. Tilt the hips. Strengthen the right buttock. Pull back. Tuck the toes. And fold. Really good. Forwards again. More emphasis. Imagine you're doing this. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then come back out. Pull back. Really good. Let's go again. Let me move this brick. Notice the left knee. Travel forwards, heel down. Pull back. Lower the hips. And again, remember the idea of these practices is the constant motion helps warm the tissues up, but also means you're going to become very familiar with the mechanics of the movement. That's great for our nervous system, great for our brains. It means that you can progress at a really healthy speed. You know, you can adapt to these practices really well. Often statics holds don't offer that. Fold once more. Really good. Come forward. Happy. Okay, let's bring it into knee comes back. And then we come to our 90-90-90. So now we're looking at knee and hip. We've done ankle and knee. Now knee and hip. So mirror me, it's going to be my left leg forward, your right leg back. Most of you know this setup by now. It's an important one while you're practicing with me. We want your right shin as square with the head of the mat as you can, and your left thigh to follow that. Then your right thigh and left shin are also parallel lines. So I've got two parallel lines here, tracing off to the right, and two parallel lines here, coming off to the front. If you find your knees high, this is where a prop can come in. We want to be able to feel that you can press down into the knee. That's when we're going to get the most benefit. So again, we press down into the knee. We start our timer. I'm going to take this to one side. And then I'm going to have the hands down. Keep the chest high. Fold. And then come back up. Lift the chest. Really good. Let's go again. We fold. Come down. Actively press down into your right knee. And then come back up. Now as you progress, stage 2 would be to continue that same movement, same flow, but look, my hands tap the floor so I've got stability and a bit of support, but now my hips are beginning to create the movement. When you feel you develop that strength and you get a bit cocky with it, then the hands come up and you still use the strength of your hips coming as low as you can and then coming back out, but now no support of the hands. Come down. Notice how this front knee wants to lift. Watch this as we take our final movement. As you lean back, the momentum carries you back, and often this happens. Again, try to have the awareness to continue to press down into that right knee. Okay, let's pause. Let's do this as we transition. Let's get a little more strength into that side body. Lift the left leg. Wince a little bit. Lean a bit to the right. Lift the left foot. Pause. Let that feeling build. Wince a little bit again. Lift the knee, slowly bring it forwards, and then let's change sides. Let's restart our timer. Again, remember if the knee's raised, you can place the brick there. So again, stage 1 would be using the support of your hands and getting better at the movement, increasing the range. So we're coming lower. Navel down towards the shin and the thigh. Heart stays nice and high. Stage 2, little more challenge. Tapping the floor. Stage 3, hands up. Now as you do this, particularly if you're newer to these practices, it's more than likely you start to get a tingling sensation in the back thigh, also known as cramp, and it's not all that comfortable, but trust me, if you persist with it, it fades. It's very unlikely to be dehydration. It's more likely that muscle isn't used to firing and engaging and it's really struggling with it. Consistent, frequent practice will mean that lessens as you get more engaged and stronger in that region. Let's go again. Last one. Fold forwards. Come back. Happy. Really good. Let's pause this timer. Hands to the front. Lift the right leg. Lift the left leg. Let that feeling build, or right foot rather. Let that feeling build on the right side. Lift and lift and lift and lift. Swing the legs behind us. Let's come back to that lunge position. This time we're going to start to move up towards our torso and bring some more rotation in. Pad to the left knee, blanket to the left knee. Right foot steps forwards, but this time the heel of the right foot stays on your mat. The ball of the right foot comes out. This will be our practice. We're going to come forwards and then we're going to reach up, twist as much as you can, and then you're going to twist in front of you, reach your right hand across the left and lean to the right so you get this stretch here. Again, we inhale, let's start, come up, shoulder blades together, exhale, right hand across, lean to the right. Inhale, come up, shoulder blades together, exhale, come down. Inhale, we come up, big twist, you're really good. Exhale, come down, that lean to the right. Notice where you feel the stretch. Inhale, come up, a little slower. Draw the shoulder blades together, really projects the heart. Reach across, that lean to the right. Notice the stretch in the right hip, but also into the back. Inhale, come up. Flare the chest. Exhale. Take us down for the final time. Let's lean to the right. And then come back to the center. Hands down. Right leg goes back. We take the prop over to the right knee for a little bit of comfort. Left foot comes forwards. Left foot to be in alignment with the hands if you can. If it can't quite reach it, take hold of it to bring it forwards. Heel on the mat, toes turn out off the mat. Really important because it gives us more hip mobility and space. And then we go for it. Inhale, reach up. Draw the shoulder blades together. Project the heart. Exhale down. Let's give you something else to focus on. Look at this shoulder here. So as I reach up, notice how it's collapsed. Come away from that. Press into it. Look, lift, 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 lift. And then come down. Twist. Let's go again. Look to the screen. Just look at my right shoulder. Push into the hands. Space. So there's no congestion in the joint. You're creating space in the joint, but importantly as well, you're engaging the muscles surrounding it. Inhale, come up. Exhale across. Inhale, come up. Exhale across. Let's go for one more. Time is going to beep. Inhale, come up. Exhale, last time, across with that little lean to the left. Perfect. Come back to the center. Okay, let's step the legs back. Well done all. Let's take this to one side. We're going to slowly start to lie down onto your front, so we are here. Let's just reset right. Pants out, that'll be good for me. Okay, let's come to our upper body. Almost there with our final practices now. So we're going to come into rolling cobra poses. Cobra pose we're going to do in a very specific way where we're going to try to use less of pressing down into your hands, so less support of the front body, more strength to the back body. It will look something like this. So rather than press into the hands and push up, instead let's use the muscles of the back, very faintly press into the hands just to support, but I'm squeezing the back muscles to lift me up, elbows stay bent, and then here I'm pulling the elbows in, shoulder blades sink down the spine, and I'm projecting the heart forwards, and then a lower down. So imagine that when your hands meet the floor, rather than just push down, they're actually pulling the mat back. So it feels as though you're trying to pull yourself forwards. And if you're in a mat, that's going to stop you moving, but that action of trying to do that will engage the muscles of the back. We really want to feel this up here, middle back as best we can. So let's start our timer. Hands just a little wider than the shoulders to the edges of the mat. Look, my fingers are off the mat. Turn the toes out, engage the buttocks. Draw the shoulder blades together, lift the chest. Slowly down. So again, here I'm focusing on strengthening the muscles of the back, just a little bit of support from the hands. Inhale, up we come. Exhale down. Inhale, up we come. Exhale down. Inhale, up we come. Exhale down. One more. Inhale, up we come. Exhale. And down. Really good. Restart our timer. This time push firmly into hands. Come to all fours. Then let's come into a seated position to close with. Now in a seated position you can sit anywhere you choose. Try to keep your spine as straight as possible. If you're in a seated position and this is happening and you're collapsed forwards, puts a little too much pressure onto the back, but importantly, means you're really compressing the breath. It's really difficult for your lungs to expand adequately, to use your diaphragm properly, if you're in a hugely hunched position. So, you simply sit taller. If you cross your heels and your knees are riding really high and you can't drop them down, you can't keep the spine nice and straight, this is where the bricks or the cushions come in. You simply bring some bricks in, or cushions, or if you've got a chair close to hand, you use a stool or a chair. Absolutely fine too. So we're going to come up onto here. I can sit with heels crossed, but also can sit like this. We'll sit nice and tall. Spine is tall. Final part of the practice. Relax the shoulders. Shoulders come down. We do this with the head. We turn to look towards your right shoulder without pulling the left shoulder forwards. We take the left hand behind the back. Right hand comes up on top of the head. And then it gently brings you into the stretch. Just a little force. Then we part. Right hand skywards, left hand behind your back. Twist. Right hand behind your back. Left hand on top of the head. Gentle stretch. Do that again. Reach up and down. Twist. Turn. Head down. Go again. Reach up. Twist. Turn. Stretch. We go again. Reach up. Keep that spine nice and straight. Heart lifted. Twist. Turn. Go down. And again. Up. Twist. Turn. Come down. Okay, come back to the center. Continue with the neck as we close. Relax the shoulders down. Really simple practices. Rock the head from right to left. Just pausing for a moment. Take it over to the left. Pause for a moment. Back to the right. Again, notice that I'm trying to not collapse the spine. The chest is lifted. The shoulders aren't moving all that much. So I can bring a little more awareness to the back of the neck or the side of the neck. We go again. Stretch. And again. Stretch. Roll the shoulders. Let's bring it home. Again, you can sit in whichever way you choose, or if you prefer, you can lie down onto your back. I'm actually going to take these props away. I'm going to come into a more comfortable position for myself, just because this is how I often practice, seated. And then we use our timer just for 1 minute. We're going to practice diaphragmatic breathing. So here are the skills for this. The lips are sealed. As long as you're not overly congested in the nose, try to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Much better for the body to do that. And then importantly, we find diaphragmatic breath. This is different from abdominal breath, how it's sometimes taught within yoga and even in some exercise practices. Abdominal breathing, incredible. Not necessarily the best way to engage your diaphragm better. And if you engage your diaphragm better, your breathing pattern is better, along with a whole host of additional benefits too. Let's do this. Let's find the fleshy part of your stomach. So all flesh to the sides. Come to the sides, all flesh. Come up. Okay, boom. I can feel those bottom 2 or 3 ribs. That's where the diaphragm is going to be placed, inside and internal of these. So I'm going to press firmly. Again, try not to be too close to the front. If your flexibility allows, come wider, and I'm going to press in. I've got my body held like this, and I'm pressing in on those bottom 2 or 3 ribs. They're very elastic, those bottom 2 or 3 ribs. Now keep your hands there, seal the lips. I'm going to lift my hands away, but keep yours there. As you inhale, push a little bit into your hands so you can feel that the inhale separates your hands. And on the exhale, blow everything away. Not just a little bit, everything. Out, 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 until the hands come as close as they can get together. You'll inhale out, exhale, hands come in. Cool? Let's do this to the slowest rhythm that you can, with the gaze lowered, or if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. It'll help you focus. Let's go together. Inhale. And exhale. So without my instruction, you just follow your breathing pattern, tuning into where you feel the breath. After the next exhale, the hands can lower. We'll turn our timer off. And then for this final moment, just sit. Let go of all the control. Keep the gaze lowered, or if you can, close your eyes. Just pause exactly where you are. Take a moment to focus on your body. Find a little more clarity of your mind, a little more purpose, intent, and peacefulness for the remainder of your day or evening. Eyes open. Thank you for practicing. Good class. I'll see you again soon. Take care.